I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater. Admiral Nelson and Chief Sharky are in the flying sub, headed for a remote area to meet a scientist. Richard Basehart and Terry Becker had so much fun playing off each other that they asked the writers to give them lots more opportunities. They got them. We loved it, and we still do.
BX-406 to FS1. BX-406 to FS1. Dr. Pierre Blanchard calling Admiral Harriman Nelson. Do you read me, FS1?
Loud and clear. This is Nelson, the flying sub. How are you, Doctor?
Just fine. Good to hear your voice again, Admiral. How soon do you expect to be here?
Our ETA is 15:30, is roughly about 10 minutes.
Splendid. We're all ready with our demonstration experiment. I think you're going to be amazed at what we're about to show you.
John Lormer had one of those faces and voices that made you say, "Oh, I know that guy. He was in that one episode of that other show." And you'd always be right. He began his career as a character actor in 1949 and got more popular the older he got. If you remember the Batman episode in Season 3, How to Hatch a Dinosaur, he was Professor Dactyl. That's the only thing we've seen him in so far. Emphasize so far. Keep watching the channel. He'll show up a couple more times down the line. Right now, he's another old friend of Nelson's. Harriman Nelson is a household name in the scientific community, so it shouldn't surprise us that he knows everybody.
I'm anxious for you to get here. I think you'll agree this is going to be the greatest triumph of my career.
You make it sound very exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
So am I. 10 minutes, you say?
Right.
Good. I'll be waiting for you. BX-406 clear.
There aren't many people in this world who have evil resting face. He's one of them. Whatever that thing is, I doubt the pen is going to work right. He's careful to make sure the professor puts it in his shirt pocket.
Just think. With this small device, we can control the behavior of one of the most powerful creatures in existence.
And the man that gives this to the world receives great honors.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to you. I get the feeling it matters to him. I think we know what's going to happen. The only question is what kind of creature they're controlling. Oh, that's what they're controlling. Our old friend Janos Prohaska, Irwin's favorite gorilla. He played some kind of creature in all of Irwin's TV series. He also played both a gorilla and a bear in Honey West. Looking at his filmography, it was rare for him to appear as himself, if he ever did. He was born in Hungary, and I have to wonder if it was frustrating for him that he learned English just so he could go "arr, arr, arr" on screen.
He must have broken out of his cage.
Quick, the control. Rock. Rock, the control. Activate the control.
He already did. That's why the beast is acting like that. By the time Nelson and Sharky arrive, it's too late.
How did it happen?
Well, as you know, we were preparing for your arrival. Dr. Blanchard wanted to show you a full-scale demonstration.
All right, go on.
Without warning, our subject went mad, broke loose from his cage, and attacked the camp. You can't imagine how terrible it was.
It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. I still see it when I close my eyes. I have nightmares about it and wake up screaming. He says Dr. Blanchard's work is a failure. Admiral Nelson isn't so sure.
Those are only some of Dr. Blanchard's rough notes. They aren't important.
Oh? Well, I think they're fascinating. Chief, gather up all these you can find, will you?
Aye, sir.
Well, Blanchard was definitely on the right track. I'm going to see that this experiment doesn't die with him.
You mean you're going on with it after this?
Absolutely. Oh, not here, of course, in Santa Barbara.
Nothing in science is unimportant until it's been thoroughly examined. Brock knows that.
That's impossible. In the first place, you'd have to recapture the subject, and I don't think you can. And if you can, you'd have to transport that beast on your submarine.
Well, suppose you let me worry about those details, huh? Blanchard was my friend, and I'm going to see that he gets full credit for his work.
He doesn't realize it, but that's the worst thing he could have said. It's not hard to see that Brock intends to make some kind of breakthrough discovery and get credit himself. And he's willing to kill for it.
Admiral, I think you're making a mistake. But if you're determined to go ahead with it, I want to volunteer my services.
Well, that's good of you, Brock. You can be a great help.
His services doing what? He's indicated that he can't control the creature. He declared Dr. Blanchard's work a failure and said his notes were unimportant. So tell me, how he's such a great help?
We'll need Blanchard's brain control device.
Oh, I'm afraid that's impossible. The device was destroyed in the attack.
Check his pocket, Admiral. You may be surprised because he put the pieces of the broken device in there and they mysteriously reassembled themselves. Once you have the gorilla under control, you need to tell the Pentagon about that pocket.
Oh,
I warned you. It wouldn't be easy.
apparently not.
In fact, I don't think there's any way to recapture that beast.
We can do it with a shore party from Seaview armed with tranquilizing weapons.
They should be wondering why he's trying so hard to dissuade them, but we know how Admiral Nelson gets when he's focused on something.
Chief, let's go down to the flying sub and contact Captain Crane.
Sir. Crane? Would that be, a Lee Crane?
Yes. You know him?
Yes, I think we met somewhere.
Fair warning, we won't learn what that's about until the very end, and frankly, it's not worth waiting for.
Before I forget, Admiral, I want you to have this pen.
Why?
It was Dr. Blanchard's. He used it to write most of his notes. I'm sure he'd want you to have it.
So he'll have it kill Nelson, too.
Dr. Blanchard's assistant wants to help us continue the experiments once the animal's been recaptured. Now, he indicated that he knew you.
What's his name?
Leo Brock, B-R-O-C-K.
Oh, yes. I knew him once.
It sounds like it wasn't a very happy association.
It wasn't. I'll tell you all about it when you come back aboard.
As I said, the guys with the tranquilizer rifle show up. Soon enough, the gorilla is unconscious in a big cage in the missile room, chained down. We aren't taking any chances with this thing.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Brock.
So it is the same Lee Crane I knew.
I'm wondering if it's the same Leo Brock.
A little more mature now, Captain. And a great deal more successful.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Well, could you direct me to your missile room? I want to see that my charge is properly taken care of.
Through the hatch over there. Aft to a ladder down. Then follow the companionway forward until you get to the missile room.
Thank you. I'll find it.
I get the feeling Captain Crane would like to chain him down, too. He wants to talk to the Admiral about Brock, so Nelson says, "Come to my quarters." Crane puts up a good fight, but that whack to the back of the neck still has his head ringing, and eventually he goes down. Brock ties and gags him and puts him somewhere. A lot of men will spend a big part of the episode searching for him without success. We have to deduce it, but the pen only draws the gorilla when it's on somebody's person and won't do anything while it's in the drawer. Down in the missile room, nobody's actually watching the gorilla because they're off trying to find the captain. A couple of random guys are doing their jobs and not really paying attention to the cage. Now they're paying attention. It throws them around a little, but doesn't really hurt them. They aren't as targets, they're just in the way.
Get the hatch. Dog it down, hurry. Emergency. Emergency in the missile room.
Kowalski, what's going on?
It's that ape, sir. It broke loose in the missile room. I don't know how long the hatch will hold him.
Chip, sound general quarters. Get some men down there with tranquilizing guns on the double. Aye, sir.
They worked before, let's hope they work again. And to answer Kowalski's question, the hatch lasted 3 hits.
Let him have it. Fire! We can't stop him. We're hitting the gun. Fire!
If there's one thing I've learned from playing first-person shooter games, it's this: keep shooting until he goes down. In another corridor, Brock is afraid he may have taken this whole thing too far.
No. They've had enough.
Nobody's noticed that when his demeanor changes like that, he has a tendency to act as though his head is hurting. Mostly because it is. That's how the thing is controlling him. Although right now he's feeling no pain. Chip wants to know what to do if it wakes up and starts raging again.
Station a sharpshooter there all night. If the gorilla acts up, have him fire a high-velocity bullet through his brain. And keep me posted in my cabin.
In his cabin, he sits down to look at Blanchard's notes some more, but it's been a very long day, and he falls asleep. You know, if you really qualified as a sharpshooter with that thing, you are allowed to pick a spot out of the creature's reach. It might be good to have a talk with whoever forgot to tell him that. He needs to put a fresh gadget in the pen, probably a battery running out thing. In one of the most unbelievable scenes of the episode, he manages to sneak in, find the pen, rearm it, and slip it into Nelson's pocket. Does that bug me? Yes, it does. Nelson has been a military man long enough that he tends to sleep with one eye open, so to speak. He sleeps lightly and on guard. The disruption in the airflow around him should have been enough to wake him. Brock does everything but steal his pants. I can't buy it. Throughout the entire scene, I hoped Nelson was faking. No such luck. And he won't notice that the pen is back in his pocket even though he didn't put it there. We know the wrench isn't for fixing stuff. Thankfully, our director didn't make us watch. He did, however, make us watch this. That's 2 murders on his hand. As if he cares. This is all about fame and glory. Duh.
Chief, do you know who's in the missile room?
Well, just the guard watching the gorilla. Why, sir?
That torpedo tube was just discharged down there.
I don't like the sound of that.
Neither do I. The torpedo tube's an obvious way to get somebody off the ship.
Skipper.
In the missile room, there's nobody here but us unconscious gorillas.
It's open.
Where's the guard I had posted?
I saw him a little while ago. He's right here.
I'd check that rifle if I were you.
This is the one that's fired.
Maybe it wasn't a skipper. It could have been the guard.
That would explain why his rifle is here and he isn't. Chip says, but who fired it? Once again, I have to say, duh. Who's the only wild card around here? And I repeat, check that rifle.
Put a bullet through its brain.
I told him to check it. Brock makes the gorilla throw them around a little, but then sends it after Nelson.
This is the exec. I want a detail armed with high-velocity rifles. Lay down the forward quarters on the double. When you see the gorilla, shoot to kill.
Nice of you to join us, boss. While he heads out to see what the ruckus is, men with large guns are sprinting down the corridors.
It's blocking the corridor. We're cut off.
Well, we can go through the inspection hatch and get around it.
Good idea. This is Morton. We'll join the detail.
Aye, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure where they come out, but they find something that definitely doesn't belong.
Mr. Morton. Skipper. Is he okay?
He's still alive, but he's been hurt.
What happened? Where is this place?
Just take it easy.
I gotta find the Admiral.
Sure, when you're stronger.
We better not move him alone, sir. I'll get some corpsmen.
Go ahead.
In true guy fashion, Captain Crane insists he's all right and he has to find the Admiral. Get in line.
Keep going, Admiral. I'll slow him up.
Not by much he won't, but it's long enough for Admiral Nelson to set us up for an appearance by the real star of the series. The circuitry room. This place has been torn apart so many times, nobody's sure what goes where anymore. They just start sticking wires together and hope for the best. That's usually how effective it is. Brock is starting to realize that he made a big mistake. He needs to call it back.
The ship's going down. I've got to stop him. Oh, no.
Never mind. Remember back on land when he said the control was smashed to pieces? Suddenly it's the truth. And with that, all his marbles just fell out of his head. Well, that hasn't happened before. I wonder how many crewmen it'll take to equal a super strong gorilla when it's time to stand it back up. While Chip gets the ship under control, Nelson is trying to stay as far away from that thing as he can.
Admiral, we're going to die. All of us. We're going to die, and I can't stop it.
You'll pull yourself together, Brock.
I could have stopped it, and I didn't.
We know Woodrow Parfrey well. We saw him in Honey West 3 times in Batman. On my Patreon, we've seen him twice in Hogan's Heroes, and we'll see him again soon. One of his best-known roles was the Judge Maximus in the original Planet of the Apes. He put the mask back on for the pilot of the TV series, though as a different character. We'll see him there soon enough. He's a perfect bad guy today. Among other things, that pinched face radiates, "Don't trust me! Don't trust me! Don't trust me!" Nelson just put it all together, including the pen.
In Blanchard's notes, there was mention of a byproduct of the experiment, a fluid which produced an uncontrollable rage in the subject. I tried to use this, but it isn't right. There's no ink in this, Brock. This is a sending device transmitting the effect of that fluid to the gorilla. You've been trying to kill me.
No.
All right. In that case, you'll have no objection to carrying this yourself.
I think we're about to find out, because here it comes. Good thing Nelson put out a call telling the gunman where it is.
What kind of ammo are you using? High velocity.
They'll stop anything that moves.
All we need is one clean shot.
We'll get him. Go ahead.
How about none clean shot? Again, those weapons are intended to use at a distance. You don't go running up to the target with those. You stand still and wait for it to come toward you. Yes, I know I'm too late with this information.
Get back! He's after the pen, not you.
You're sure about that? We saw the Admiral throw the pen into that room, but our furry friend seems focused on Brock anyway. Speaking of clean shots, it finally got a clean shot at Brock. It wasn't after the pen, it was after the human that it knew had been tormenting it.
Feeling better, Lynn?
I think I'll live.
For a while there, I had my doubts.
So did I.
Well, obviously, Brock was trying to stop you from telling me about him. I think I can guess why. You were going to tell me you doubted his sanity, weren't you?
Something like that. He was an egomaniac. His only talent was an ability to fool people who were really talented. Apparently, he fooled Dr. Blanchard completely.
And most of the rest of us.
All the hints, all the suspense, and that's the payoff. He's a mediocre guy who's full of himself and steals other people's work. No sordid past, no real bad blood between them, nothing interesting. Gee, thanks. I'm not going to comment on the gorilla suit because it's your basic Irwin Allen model. As with all things Irwin, you either love it or you hate it. Both opinions are valid. The idea behind the story is a decent one, but the execution kind of bites. We're left with too many questions. What was Brock's end game? What did he figure to do when he got to Santa Barbara with a missing captain and a dead admiral? We know he thought he had to kill the admiral because he intended to finish the experiment and publish it under Blanchard's name. Brock was playing, "Please, Mother, I'd rather do it myself," and was willing to murder people to get Mother out of the way. In the end, he did a Frankenstein, and his creation killed him. The circuitry room recovered from its injuries, though it walked with a limp from then on.
All I gotta do is breathe underwater. Breathe underwater. Breathe underwater.
The only question is what kind of creature. I have nightmares and waiting